Hey there, I decided to up my game in HVZ and make something that does not shoot one shot, or two shots at a time, but rather 3. Imagine 3 darts screaming at you. Imagine you're in a 3-shot kill game and all of a sudden you just got bamboozled. Or imagine you have 3 times the chances of taking down a zombie. HVZ is coming up in Camarillo. Me and my friends, the Vitug brothers, and me, we went to Camarillo today to go out and just scout the area and just sort of practice a few things. I sighted in my gun. This is a new one for this HVZ. This is the Rapid Extreme Retaliator that has about full arch, maybe 160 feet of effective range. Pulls about 95 to 100 flat, and is capable of effective range, I would say mid-arch, probably about 130. I know I was scoring about 130, 140 feet hits when I was going from the place right in front of the dam where everybody gets out of the baseball field and hitting the tree far away. I was just nailing that tree, and still you heard a thud, even with all that air resistance. So we were basically doing a lot of tactics and a lot of scouting. I highly recommend you scout. There's going to be just a lot of great tactics, a lot of great weapons this year. Don't do what I did first year, where I went in December and I just decided, okay, I'm just going to show up. No, this park has so much. This is not just your normal grass field and a few trees park. This park has so much to offer. Places to hide, things to do, places to go, even leave the scene and maybe smoke some tokers. I'm serious. I'm serious. There were places in the grass that no zombie would ever find in the grum. I mean, just really. But at anywho, I decided to make a master key, but I decided to make it the right way. First off, most people seek it back. They don't got long arms like me. I got great long arms. I mean, still. Look at this. Look at this elbow right down here. And I'm being careful because it's still a little tacky. It's bonded with 2-part epoxy. Look at that. Look at that. This is perfect length for me. Perfect length. I don't need to make this shorter. A lot of people have shorter arms, so they tend to bring it into the magazine wells, or they make it shorter because on a strife it is a little farther out from the magazine. But even on a strife, So one of the problems I always saw with this is that they didn't bond it right. It was either held together by nylon ties, or it was screwed. Well, screwed actually works pretty well, except this is that 2-sided part. Or it was glued on all at once. See, the thing is I separated them and glued them separate, and then I lined them up. What I ended up with was a bead for bead alignment, perfect alignment, like I do a lot of my integration guns. That's problem number 1, is lining it up. Problem number 2 is bonding it. And then problem number 3, it's a retaliator barrel. This thing bounces around like a loose Puerto Rican. I am not kidding, okay? So most people, they will simply just use this on here. Now on a strife, this thing really bounces. On a Raven, it has the most control. But I say, screw all that. Why? Now this is a little tough, because there's a 5-kilogram spring holding it in. That's why. It's, look and behold, folks, it's the backside of Velcro. So what this does is this presses against the front of this gun, and it makes it so this has no play whatsoever. You're adding a ton of weight to the barrel. This thing is already not stable out of the box. You have to stabilize it somehow. So it's got all this over here, and then I have 2 tabs, one here, and one there, okay? And so what it does is it'll take the outside of this and it'll press against it, so it has no left and right play. Okay, so this thing isn't bouncing around everywhere. And the other thing I do is I use a Orange Modworks 5-kilogram Recon spring. They're cheap right now. Invest in it, especially for your stripes, your Ravens, and your Recons, and anything that uses this attachment, even a long shot. If you so feel you want to put a Recon barrel on there, like many people do. So, anywho, this gun is almost ready. What does it need now? Oh, and by the way, when you first put this on, you're going to have to He-Man this on here because this tends to stick up. and you're gonna have to push it real hard and twist it on it. And I'm talking like you're probably gonna have to take the butt of the gun, put it on the ground, and push it. I mean, extremely hard if you make one of these. Oh, and notice that that there's an air chamber back here that lets the air escape and stabilize. It's one of the reasons I got such good spiraling darts, and I hit at such long ranges. Do every one of my darts hit a person at 160 feet? No, not everyone. Do they scare people? Yes, because usually it's either a near miss or I walk in the shot and I hit them within the next 2 or 3. With a Nerf dart and the wind and everything else, you just don't have that much stability. But the ones that are the most stable of platforms, I mean, why make it more unstable? That's been my whole argument with Nerf guns. Why make it more unstable? If you have a more stable setup, you will succeed. So this is not it for this gun. Because tomorrow, we're going to take the standard trigger catch and the standard and the standard piston that's in here, you know, that yellow, you know, that orange ABS piece of shit that's in there, and we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna throw one of Mr. Hing's masterpieces from Explorer, a composite. The R-Spec Retaliator has it, and it's just been doing amazing. The only thing that was wrong with it is I needed oodles and oodles of Teflon tape. I'm talking 6 windings, maybe even 7, just to make a seal. This one they did differently. I have a good feeling that's only going to take maybe 2 or 3. The other thing is that this is getting the Unleash kits, the Stage 1 Unleash kits, metal catch and reinforcement plate. I did this with a stock gun with nothing but a black tactical version 2 Retaliator spring to see where it would fail. And although it has not failed, it definitely needs to be smoother. And I decided the RX Retaliator needed this. Amongst many other requests I got from other people who emailed me inquiries about selling them guns and this and that, which the onslaught of Cartaya ModWorks is happening really slowly. I've extremely broke lately, had a few car repairs, and it's just hard in general to start a company this day and age. So the other thing that this gets is another one of Andrew and Anthony Vitug's great inventions, which is to counterweight the rear stock. I might be putting a Raider stock on this instead and putting the glued side on here. I don't know. Anybody ever wonder how this is made? It is not as simply a recon sight glued with epoxy. I actually have 3 pieces of pine laminated with epoxy, and then this is sanded. And instead of painting it with yellow, I just decided to throw some camo tape on there, and I glue it to here. This is probably either going to get screwed, or I'm going to rebond it and screw it, or just rebond it, period. And I'm going to take this apart, and I'm going to put either some lead shot and fill it with some silicone, or I'm going to put a piece of metal in here to counterweight the rough cuts heavier weight. Now, I do have lots and lots of retaliation. Now look at this too, man. Look at this. Even when you're not using the master key, you got this grip. This grip that your thumb fits perfectly here, your fingers fit perfectly here. It's nice. It's nice. Or even like this. It's just nice. It's just a nice thing to grab onto. And I put it here. Why? Because I'm usually going to have it in cock like this. And I'm usually going to be like, instead of wanting to pump it and fire it, I'm going to want to go like, you see what I'm saying? Like that. So I'll usually want to, you know, do like that. And since you have a smooth transition, let me do it again. Like that. So it's easier to reach. If you have it farther away from the trigger, it's not as nice. And if you have it here, it's just too close. So, and anyhow, I know you haven't heard an update from me for a while. I'm saying, though, you know, you Californians, really check out HVZ this year. Really get your game on. Really get it all in. I would love to see a charge of the humans and the zombies just fucking bail. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. If everybody just has their act together and all the zombies just run for it. Ah, that'd be great. I'm dreaming, I know. Alright, so take care. Don't ego changing.